Welcome to Tapestry with Miriam on Fusing Who Am I channel. This is exciting because we are celebrating young talent in Alberta. Neriah Inyang-Otu and Neriah Inyang-Otu. I'm pronouncing them good, I hope. Two sisters who are a power duo. I call you power duo because Neriah here, she is the Vice President of Social Impact at the University of Alberta, Black Student Association. And her role with that organization includes extensive collaboration with community organizations and fostering an inclusive space for Black students. We're going to be talking to her about a lot of things that she's doing with the Black Students Association as well. And Mariah, who's the older sister, I believe, she's also a vice president of the Youth Science Innovation Program at Team Up Science. She helps make scientific exploration accessible and enjoyable for the youth of Edmonton, focusing on Indigenous, rural, and inner city communities. So welcome, ladies, to our show today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for accepting to come here and just speaking about it. And I always get very excited to speak with young people who are doing great things in the community. It's very important to be an example, you know, to other people. You founded Purple Tie Foundation. I'm going to ask you about the name, why the name, and I'm going to ask you, how did you come up with that?
Well, the Purple Tie Foundation, the name comes from a book I authored when I was 15 called Purple Tie, There is Royalty Within. And in that book, I basically delved into the lives of 20 young teenagers, young students, who were all struggling with different aspects of their lives, whether it came to addiction, loneliness, depression, all of that. And my entire goal with that book was to mentor to the students that I was kind of among, to say that, hey, you can deal with these problems, you can deal with your issues by reaching out, by finding that courage within yourselves. And so we decided to also make that into a foundation that also encourages our students to become empowered by their own capabilities, right? So we help these students to delve into their talents, into their hobbies, and to become very active into their communities. And yeah.
That's very good. And also that's the power of reading. In our show here, we actually encourage kids to read. It's very important, especially in our community, in the Black community. Sometimes people say we don't read, and it's important to encourage and to see the power of the book that brought that. What are some of the challenges that you have faced, you know, starting the foundation?
Well, I'd say one of the first challenges we encountered was, well, how do we reach people? How do we connect with these youth? And then how do we encourage them and let them know that they matter, that they're important? And so what we did was we invited people from all walks of life, lawyers, teachers, engineers, and their own peers as well, to mentor to them. That way they can listen to success stories, which is really important.
Yeah.
But they can also see their own peers succeeding in these different career aspirations or possibilities, right? And that really worked out and turned out great. We've had a great turnout ever since. Upwards of 200 people attend our events, and we can just see them, how passionate they are to learn new things and to be emboldened that they themselves can accomplish great things. So it's been really wonderful on this journey.
And that's very good. And Neriah, how inspired were you to become part of this foundation? And did you just also start with your sister, and was it at the same time?
Yeah, it was exciting to see her journey. Of course, it started with her book. And actually at her book launch party, she had said to all of the attendees that all proceeds from the book would be going to a charity or some kind of organization. And so we sat with ourselves and we're like, what is something that aligns so perfectly with what we believe? And there were too many to choose from, but also none that we felt identified with who we were. So we decided to create the Purple Tie Foundation together. And aside from our passion for youth empowerment, another factor for the Purple Tie Foundation was our tribal heritage. So we are from Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. And being a part of that minority group, we are acutely aware of the importance of bolstering our community's youth and encouraging them to stand up and saying that they matter.
Yes.
So that was a leading drive for us to start the foundation together.
Very impressive. I'm very impressed because when I come across young people that are doing great things, sometimes they're doing great things in education and something like that. But really, to think of your tribal connection, to think of your heritage, to think of back home. This is home for sure, but back there where your parents are coming from, and you want to also connect and make sure that those people feel important and also learn more things because life is a learning journey, right? We all learn. I'm really impressed with that. Now, with Moriah, I know you are Executive Director, Youth Science, or VP, or something like that, program at Team Up Science. Can you tell us more about what you do with this organization? Because you both have different things that you do.
Yeah. So basically, my job is to reach out to youth-centered organizations or schools in Edmonton and let them know, hey, we offer free sessions that are based on various topics such as engineering, math, science, even arts. And we can mentor these young kids in these experiments and have them feel capable in their ability to create new innovation, right? An example I have is with one of our grade 1 cohorts, we worked on coding robots, and they were so excited that they could make something of their own, right? And being at the forefront of the next Albertan innovators is so fun and so fulfilling to me, and I love what we do. It's really fun.
Wow. So with the program that you do with the science program, how does that, because I know you're doing the Purple Tie Foundation is also empowering. How do you merge the two? Because you're very busy doing this and that. So how merge the two? So they complement each other?
They do. I use what I learn from being vice president of YSIP to apply to what I'm doing with
Yes.
Purple Tie. They aren't exactly connected,
Yes.
but I'm definitely using these experiences to help grow my experience in both of these organizations. So it's really amazing.
Oh, that's really great. And of course, Neriah, I don't want to mess up because I will call you anyhow.
Happens a lot.
Neriah, you are now the vice president of the Black Students Association at Alberta University. What type of work do you do with them as well? Like this?
So, yeah, I'm the vice president of social impact within the UABSA. So my role is all about advocacy. I represent Black students on campus and within the broader Alberta community. For example, within the past year, we collaborated with the city to draft an anti-Black racism action plan. And we have a project coming up this year that we're launching, a mentorship program to bridge the gap between upper year and lower students, because we recognize the struggle that first and second year students might face, and we just want to provide that community and that mentorship so that they can seek guidance and find resources that will benefit their mental well-being and support their career aspirations.
That's good. How do you say, because again, I'm proud of you for doing that, because some people at university, students will, like some students will say, I don't want to be anything, part of Black anything, because sometimes it looks like you're fighting, you're doing this, and it's not a fight. You want to make sure that you're doing the right thing, and also just making people understand certain things, understand our culture. What are some of the challenges that you have faced as the vice president of this association, and maybe not even just the vice president, that's a member of the association?
Yeah, a lot of what I deal with, especially under the social impact portfolio, is making sure that our school community feels our impact and knows what we're doing. And a part of that comes with engagement. Like you said, some people don't want anything to do with it. And so we try as a team to make sure that our events are inclusive, not just for Black students, but everyone is welcome, and that they're fun, and that there's no any kind of political agenda or anything behind them, just as a community for us to grow. And the BSA, at the core, we just want to create a sense of community for people to belong to and connect with people who are like-minded in their aspirations.
Okay. And being a Black student association, are you also, how relevant, probably that's the question I should ask you, how relevant is Black History Month? And because we are just nearing Black History Month very soon here in February, and I'm sure you become busy and all that, and maybe you have a lot of questions about how relevant is Black History Month for this association?
Yeah, Black History Month is one of our busiest months for sure. Both personally and with our association, we have every weekend booked with organizations that we have to attend or that we're orchestrating ourselves. Notably, we have a Black History Month gala held at the end of every February, and it's increasing in size every year. Last year, we were almost at venue capacity, so it's definitely very relevant within our community. We also have notable guest speakers, including the mayor and accomplished community leaders, as well as local performances from Mela Freak. They performed last year, and local businesses lend their support. So it's a gathering for not just our campus community and our association, but for the city too, I believe. And I think that Black History Month events are very important and very exciting because they are a chance to showcase Black culture and art, and they serve as a reminder that we're more than just what we've had to overcome.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think that that part, okay, that part of the history, sorry for that, part of the history, like Black History Month, is important for us to continue, and just not the month of February, to continue even, maybe should be in schools, in everywhere, so that people can embrace themselves. Do you think that's important?
Yes, I would love to see it talked about more than just in 1 month.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone should be celebrated for all of their accomplishments, and especially representation is something we're super passionate about. So it's important for people who look like us to hear our success stories. So definitely that shouldn't just be restricted to 1 month.
Okay, well said. How about the Student for Change? What is Student for Change?
Well, its genesis was born from our time in high school. Basically, racism was highly prevalent and nothing was being done about it. So me and Neriah said, okay, what can we do to kind of address these issues? So its purpose was twofold. One, to address that the racism was actually a real thing that we had to deal with. And two, to collaborate with our educators to start kind of hitting it head on and telling the student body that we notice this is a problem and here are ways that we can come about it. Right. So we created a safe space for people to voice their opinions, their concerns, their questions, even their breakthroughs. And then we also try to host at least monthly or weekly educational videos that all classrooms would see on racism, on its history, on how we can be proactively anti-racist. So it's a big passion of ours, and we think that it did a pretty good job at our high school.
Wow. I don't want to ask how old you are. I know you're very young, young people. Where does this passion come from?
Our passion for the work we do, I think, is just from the belief that every young person deserves the chance to reach their full potential. And we understand the importance of support, education, resources, and just the knowledge of opportunities. So we just want to share as much of that as we can and create communities wherever we go so that youth feel supported and they feel encouraged. And we hope to be role models to inspire young people to pursue their goals fearlessly.
That's very good. Just on that point, do you also think, because I think sometimes we shy away from political ambitions or public office. Do you think that it's important for, like you're saying, you started this Student for Change because of the differences or deficiencies, I guess, that we see around. Do you think it's important for young people to engage into community activities and also in political ambitions?
1000%. So last year I was a coordinator under the social impact portfolio, And a lot of what we were doing were consultations. And so we were meeting with political leaders all the time and being invited to various events in that space. And it really opened our eyes that there's so much happening within our city. And I was like, if I'm not in this position, I wouldn't even be aware of that. And through those engagements, it opened so many doors for me with whether it was scholarship or job opportunities or connections, like how we met you, for example.
Yeah.
So it's definitely important that young people are getting themselves into these spaces. And so that's part of what we try to do, especially with Purple Tie Foundation, is just to share those resources.
That's very good. Wow. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with that. Do you also like, think, I'm going to ask you, Mariah, what change do you want to see in the city of Edmonton?
That's a great question. I want to see more success stories. We're big on that from our own Black community. I want it to be a thing where we don't need representation anymore. That is just, you go into a classroom, you go into a university hallway, you just see your people around you. And that we don't have a stereotype of being any kind of way of being lazy, unread, uneducated. That's what the change I want to see primarily in our city.
That's very good, because what you're saying is you don't want to see a token representation. And that's what I say all the time, token representation, where you just have one or two.
Yeah.
The first, the first Black this, first Black that, first Black. Do you think that's good? it's a little bit, right? Yeah. So I think I love your idea and your thought about that, to see that change, to see you don't have to be the first. You don't have to be, oh yeah, there's a Black person there. It's like, shouldn't I be here?
Exactly.
I think that's very good. And for us, as well as other communities that are also minorities, we also want to see them succeed in everything that you're doing, and also get that. Moriah, again, I want to ask you, I'm just very interested in your science stuff. Is the 40% attrition rate of Black students in STEM programs in comparison to other racial groups? Because you find that there's that reduction, right? Attributed to differences and opportunities or potential deficiencies in our community.
1000%. We probably don't have access to many resources, so it's easier for us to say, I guess, it's not for me. Science, I'm not good enough for science. Clearly, there's not a lot of people like me. It's not my thing. But I think if we start creating more support systems for our people, and again, seeing more people like us is so important. I remember when I first came to my grade 6 classroom and I had seen a Black science teacher, I was so excited, because up until that point, I've just been seeing white teachers. And I was like, wow, I can be that someday. So just seeing that person, that point of contact, is so important in getting that attrition rate to be way less, I think.
And as young as you are, to actually think of that, I'm just very amazed about the way you think, because I brought up a program one time and I said, is the skin your reference point? And people are all over the place. And I was like, some people are like, reference points, yes, when you go to a place, you want to see somebody who look like you. You're not being racist. You're not being discriminatory. What you want is to just see someone, and maybe you feel comfortable a little bit, right? So, as young as you are, and just grade 6, and you're thinking of that, which means it's a very important issue, and people should actually really talk about it. I'm very glad that I got it from you as well. So now you guys, you're doing a lot, and your purple tie, how far do you want to go with this purple tie?
Yeah, we have big dreams for Purple Tie. Of course, it started when she was 16 and I was 14, so it's grown up with us. We hope to be able to reach more communities and expand both back home and in Canada, and then even internationally. So just more support and finding donors, and the legal process and the paperwork has been a challenge for us, because like I said, we were young when we started, so navigating that has been a challenge, but I know that we will continue to reach more youth.
No, that's very good. That's very good. And you, Mariah?
Yeah, we have high dreams, high hopes for Purple Tie, of course, to expand our reach. Of course, we also have our own personal career aspirations. And for me personally, I'd love to see my music grow and my book, Purple Tie, also expand and future writing projects as well. So a lot of dreams here.
You're a musician.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I
You
make
sing with music.
Yeah,
You make music?
I produce music and I also sing primarily Afro beats and R&B, R&B songs. I recently released my first single, which was called Impress You. It's on Spotify right now and Apple Music. But yeah, I hope more of that happens.
Wow, you should have told us. We could have been talking about it. Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. How, when did you start your music? And
I have been doing music for as long as I can remember. When I was 3, my parents got me my first piano. It was a tiny little thing, and the keys lit up whenever I played it. It was amazing for my little young self. So I would make my own songs, and I was probably annoying my parents with how loud I was singing in the house, but I did it all the time. Finally, when I was 12, I got my own computer and my own DAW, my own mic. So I was able to produce stuff on Logic Pro, making my own beats. They were terrible at first, but I still love doing it. And yeah, my talents and skills just progressed with that. And I love it. It's my passion. So
yeah, that's very good. I'm really glad that I met somebody who's like multi-talented. I have music in my blood too.
Yeah.
I sing and I do, but I do a lot of gospel music. I've produced some music out there.
Wow.
2 albums, and yeah, so it's really good. But for you guys, I think Student for Change and all these organizations that you have, I am glad and I'm really impressed that you started this. What do you say to those young people out there, right, who are not, because as Black people, as minority, we want to strive to be somewhere, to rewrite our own narrative. So what advice would you give to the students who are just sitting, not doing anything because they say, we are too busy studying, we can't touch another thing, and we can't, what's your, especially you, what's the Students Association president?
Yeah, our message has always just been that you are capable and that you do deserve just the chance to reach your full potential. And it doesn't matter if it's small. Students for Change started with an email I sent to a teacher, and from there it became a ripple effect.
Something,
yeah. So it doesn't matter even if it feels small right now. Just keep going, keep doing what you're passionate about, what you love, what you're talented at, and be bold, and you'll make a change in your community.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. What's next on your bucket list? Or where can people find you? Do you have a website, social media platforms that people can visit? And because we've come here and we want everybody out there to know how great you are and also how humble you are. You're very humble people and you're doing so great things, and also your education and all that. Everything is an example to young people, especially young ladies. Have you collaborated with other organizations?
Other organizations with
Yeah.
Purple Tie?
Yeah,
Not yet. That is our hope.
not yet.
But yeah.
I think you should collaborate with some foundations that are dealing with girl-child education, even if it's global, because I think it's very important to see 2 young, powerful, women that are doing great things, locally, but also out there. So thank you so much for coming. But I just want you to tell our viewers where to find you.
Yeah. You can find our website that has our organization details at purpletiefoundation.ca. You can find my music on Spotify and Apple Music. I am under Dara, that's Dara, and you'll find Impress You there. And that's about it.
That's about it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So you've heard them. the powerful duo. I call them powerful duo, Mariah and Neriah. Very nice names. I like the way they rhyme together. Thank you so much for coming to Tapestry with Miriam. And I'm sure this is not the first and last. I think we'll continue discussing and continue to give the voice to those that don't have the voice. And that's very important. That's why we are here to do what we are doing. Again, this is Fusing Who Am I channel. And you can also find us www.fusingwhoami.com, also at Fusing on YouTube and Fusing on Instagram as well. And of course, very soon you'll see us on big screen.